All right. Ooh. Okay. We got Richie Rich in the house. We got Bob Yellow something. All right. Cool. Cool. We got live viewers. Already got some thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So how goes it? Ken Bozak from the BitcoinPodcast.com here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I get to talk about these things with Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister. Adam, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are, how you got into crypto, and what you do in the industry now.
Hey, Ken, thank you so much for letting me be on your show this lovely evening. Everyone, pound that like button. All right, so how'd I get into cryptocurrency? I guess I started hearing about it around 2011. I like alternative finance. I was probably heard about it on the alternative finance channels. One guy in particular was really talking about it in 2012, and I guess that's why when it caught my ear, and then I started hearing more that it crashed and it went back up again. And finally in 2013, when it started zooming up, and I was actually in Detroit at the time visiting someone in the suburbs of Detroit, I decided I got to get in now. I got to get my first 2 Bitcoin now. So that was in 2013 when I first got my 2 Bitcoin. And from there, I've just been growing into the space and getting more and more Bitcoin and really just loving it. And a lot of things changed in my life around 2013. I started traveling around the world and stuff then. I sold the house of mine in Baltimore, and that's where I'm from. I'm from Baltimore, and that's where I'm coming to you right now. I'm in Baltimore this second, but I'm going to be in Hong Kong in a couple of days. So what do I do now? Yeah, I have a Bitcoin channel on YouTube, and I post a new video there every day. You can find it at disruptmeister.com. And I just talk about what's going on in the cryptocurrency space and just try to keep everybody up to date about the news, give some opinions, get some interesting guests on from Bitcoin and the altcoins and cryptocurrency, and people from beyond, people from just traditional finance, like guys like Jayant Bhandari, who I'm trying to get. He's a guy from India originally, just a guy I want to get into Bitcoin because he knows so much about India. He knows so much about finance. I think it's a great combination. But I also do cryptocurrency consulting. People pay me to teach them about cryptocurrency, teach them to set up their trezors, just anything. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, and I just like people to be positive and not to get addicted to doom porn and just be productive with their lives. And I guess that's my motto. Just be productive and keep in motion, stay in motion. I just, always try to network and just always try to meet new people and just get out there and have fun with your life, because you only live once, and life is pretty precious and awesome. You shouldn't live in a doom porn hole being scared about the end of the world or, all these things that aren't going to even happen. So.
Yeah, that's true. I have a lot of those people that I actually just got out of my life that were living in the whole like worst case doomsday type lifestyle, and I was like, yeah, I got to get away from those people, and like you said, network and build the people that you want to be like, build that around yourself. So we know what you do now. I'm really curious as to like what's next for Adam Meister. What is like the next thing you got planned for you, or I hate to say it like this, but for you and your brand, like what's next for Adam Meister?
Well, no, it is true. It's building the Adam Meister brand. It's building the Bitcoin Meister brand. It's building the Disrupt Meister brand. And I've thought about putting on a big event, but I mean, that's hard. That's really hard. I don't know, spreading more of the philosophy of just being an individual and living outside the box, and living outside the box even more. Maybe just setting up a more formal setup where I live 4 places during the year. Like, I'm trying to narrow down the amount of places I live during the year. Like, I've been living a lot of different places and then coming back to Baltimore for various reasons, whether I have to come back for a wedding or whatever. But I'm thinking about staying like 3 months at a time in 4 different places. That's one thing that's definitely on my agenda, kind of settling down a little bit in terms of not traveling as much, but just being in different locations, but at the same time, just becoming a more well-rounded individual. And I think introducing people more to some of my core beliefs beyond Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, just totally living outside the box, not having to live in one location, not having to have a real job, and kind of telling people that if you're working, I mean, you could be happy working at Target or in retail or whatever, but that's not necessarily what a real job is, just because society says that's what a real job is. For me, just being an entrepreneur and having free time, not working 9 to 5, that's the most awesome thing in the world. Just working when you want to work and just going wherever you want, whenever you want. Just freedom is the most important thing to me. And kind of just, I want to partner up with some people that are outside the cryptocurrency space too. People that are into like alternative health, into some of this fasting stuff, in intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I've looked into intermittent fasting.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty interesting stuff.
It's about, I'm all into this kind of self-control and thinking long-term and not being impulsive, just planning ahead and just being able to stick to something for a while. I mean, my whole Bitcoin philosophy is just buy and hold. It's really simple.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to touch on that. You say, not to cut you off, but you did bring up a great question I had lined up. You say, and you're most known for saying, like, long-term mentality. Could you explain to the viewers what that means to you?
Well, it simply means just don't trade. Don't trade your Bitcoin. Just what's the point of like flipping Bitcoin and trying to buy altcoins when they're high, and then you're just traders. Trading is much different than investing. 95% of traders lose money, and they don't talk about. Obviously, you don't hear guys just saying, "Oh man, I lost." Very rare do you hear someone say, "I lost so much. I made such a huge mistake." Sometimes you do, and I give those guys credit, but you only hear the 5% of people who are like, "Oh, I did so well flipping this, flipping that." I mean, I've been around day traders for a long time in my life, and they don't stay day traders. They go back to working at a Target. I mean, because they lose all their money. And when you're the people who are the wealthiest in the world, I've talked to people who work at banks. It's just modest looking people who buy one thing and just forget about it. And then like 20 years later, they sell it for like a huge profit. It doesn't sound exciting, but it works out well. Now with Bitcoin, I mean, things change so fast in this space. People are willing to sell. Like if Bitcoin goes down $100 in a day, which is really bad because it's going to go down $100 many, many, many more days this year and many, many more days in the near future. So I try to get people to look at the future as in the year 2020, which isn't that far away, but does seem that far away psychologically because it's in a different decade. It's the 20s. But that's a really important year because that's the year of the next Bitcoin halving. And as you may remember, last year was the Bitcoin halving, and there was a big run up to that, where the price basically doubled. And one could foresee that same thing happening again, that same hype cycle happening again. Perhaps it will start earlier, like in late 2019. This year, in 2016, the hype cycle of the halving didn't really start until, I guess, the spring, and then the halving was in the summer, basically, early summer. So if people buy now, they're already preparing for the 2020 halving. Every once in a while, you'll see people even mention on Twitter, like, remember the 2020 halving is 1,000 days away. Well, yeah, people should remember that. I mean, it's not a glamorous strategy. And people also, like, they have such a short-term mentality. They're like, dude, you tell people to buy Bitcoin. That's horrible advice. That's horrible advice. If you go back to my videos, I was telling people to buy it when it was $200. How was that horrible advice? How was it horrible advice to tell people to buy it when it was $1,200? I mean, what's it worth now? I mean, we're talking double, quadruple, 8 times what it was, 10 times what it was worth. Just because something has temporarily other altcoins have, 10x and stuff. That doesn't make Bitcoin bad. I mean, you're insane if you think Bitcoin has been a bad investment at any period of time. It constantly beats its all-time highs. I mean, go to the regular investment world where people are just happy that stocks go up 5% in a year. Go to the regular investment world where an old lady has like a bank account that pays 0.1% for the year or 0.01%. And so people are living in a fantasy land here a little bit. And again, when do you sell your precious Bitcoin for some altcoin that you don't even know what the heck it does? And when do you sell that altcoin? And where do you store that altcoin? Do you just store it at the exchange? I mean, I try to spread best practices too. There's so many newbies coming in. They still think it's okay to sell it at exchange. They don't remember that Bitfinex got to save their cryptocurrency at exchange. You should never store it at exchange. They don't remember that just last year Bitfinex got hacked, or that BTC-E stole everybody's Ethereum Classic. I mean, stuff happens. Cryptocurrency is not about relying on a third party. It's not about relying on a bank. Don't treat these exchanges as banks, because they just go under all the time. And their perfect exit strategy is just to steal everybody's Bitcoin or their cryptocurrency, whatever. I mean, BTC-E is in some Eastern European country. No one knows who they are. They're pretty cool. If you're going to trade a little bit there, I guess that's okay. But if you keep something there, you're insane. You're absolutely insane. And so it's good to remind people of that, because there's just so many new people coming into the space constantly. It's amazing how fast they're coming into the space now. It's amazing.
Speaking of how many people are getting into this space and how amazing it is, I actually just did a meetup in Philadelphia today, speaking to a room full of people that were basically new to crypto, and we touched on some things like that. I wanted to talk to you about like your thoughts on ICOs and how it's affecting crypto as a whole. Just go on a rant if you got one. I mean, what are your thoughts on ICOs? Do we need regulation? What are they going to do to crypto
Well, I don't think we need regulation with them, but we're going to get regulation. That's what's going to happen, because some of these people are going to complain when some of them blow up, and they're going to be like, why didn't you warn me that this was a total scam I was investing in? So the government's going to crack down on them, and then the government's going to crack down on maybe Ethereum and probably try to regulate Bitcoin some more and stuff. So there's going to be a domino effect that none of us are going to be very happy about. And that's unfortunate. I wish people didn't go run to the government when something bad happens to them. But that's just the nature of a lot of people. It's unfortunate. They rely on the government for everything. And that's part of my philosophy, is just like, ignore the government. Don't get caught up in these shenanigans. Try to be outside of it as much as possible. Don't worry about Hillary, what she's doing or whatever. She's gone. I mean, don't try to study every move Trump does. But going back to the ICOs, yeah, they're kind of funny, because people are just buying into them, not knowing what the heck they are. It's reminiscent of the .com era, totally, which anyone can Google, I mean, and see what happened. That people were just buying these things because they were going up, because every single one would go up, and people would hold on to them, and in the end, they all came crashing down, and people couldn't get out fast enough, and lots of people lost a lot of money. And I had Simon Dixon on my show, who is a guy in Asia, in Hong Kong actually, and he's a finance dude. He talked about how his own father became broke because of it. I mean, smart people get tricked into this. So I'm not saying people are stupid to get into ICOs. They just get caught in this fever. And they just they think, well, I can get 20x, 30x. Who cares about, Bitcoin? And even though I know what Bitcoin is, I don't know what this ICO thing, I want 30x. So it's a mess. At the same time, I think it's kind of interesting that cryptocurrency has brought us the opportunity to issue, basically, for any company out there to issue their own stocks. I mean, they don't have to do it through the normal process anymore. I think that's cool. I think this is just went absolutely bonkers, though. So buyer beware, just buyer beware. I've been warning people that this is not something I'd want to get into in this market. And you know, legitimate people have gotten into it. Vinny Lingham is legitimate. He's legitimate. He's trying to raise money in this cool new way. He's trying to follow the rules and everything. Even he caught the fever. So I mean, I think it's opened my eyes to some interesting ideas. Maybe people will be able to build things similar to ICOs that aren't as sketchy as some of these ICOs. It shows the potential of cryptocurrency. So in a theoretical way, it's very positive. I hope it doesn't get regulated. It's going to get regulated. But in reality, there's a lot of scam artists dealing with it. And then there's just a lot of greedy people who don't understand that there are people out there that just want to scam them. That half the stuff, I mean, like the cloud, it's just like the cloud mining stuff. People just, they want something that's too good to be true. And rather than stick with this, be like the tortoise and the hare and just take the slow path. And the slow, boring path. If you take the slow, boring path, you think long term, it's going to turn out all right. You're not going to have to deal with the hassles and the dangers of some of these things that are being suggested. And you're also going to be able to control your own destiny. I mean, when you just buy Bitcoin, you're holding your own Bitcoin. You're not holding some other weird thing or like having someone else hold your Bitcoin for you in the case of cloud mining scams and all these double your money scams.
Yeah, personally, I kind of got into crypto and dove in and tried everything. I tried cloud mining. I tried altcoins. And from personal experience, I mean, I wish I could go back in time and just tell myself to hold it, wait for it, and keep holding and just keep waiting. But I just wanted to play with it. And like you were saying, I was watching an interview a couple days ago. I think it was with Ben from the BTC session, but you were talking about like, you know, holding and stuff. And I think you're right. I mean, I was just talking to a room full of people, and you're going to maybe make a good trade, but you're probably going to make more bad trades than good trades. And you're eventually going to learn the hard way that this isn't for you. And by the time you learn, you lost money. Speaking of money, though, and I love that you brought up earlier the not a real job situation, because I would love to talk about how you maybe make your income or earn your income for crypto. So do you work for cryptocurrencies? Do you get paid in cryptocurrencies? What kind of jobs do you do since you are self-employed?
Yeah, all the consulting stuff I do with cryptocurrency, people send me cryptocurrency. That is what I prefer. Bitcoin, and a few people have sent Ethereum. There are some people who did the PayPal thing. Obviously, the YouTube channel's monetized. I have affiliates. You know, I sell the T-shirts and the Trezors and everything. That's coming to me in cryptocurrency. Obviously, the YouTube isn't coming to me in cryptocurrency. Now, obviously, one of the things I did beforehand, I've done some stuff with real estate in my past life, and that was buy and hold type of stuff too. Well, mostly buy and hold type of stuff. I lived in a pretty a house I bought for $41,000 in a pretty messed up neighborhood in Baltimore that we all moved to, and we helped make a better place. And that was an adventurous time. It was an awesome time. And so I sold that house, and what I tell people, it's not really how much you make, it's how much you save. And like, I do not live frivolously at all. I live very simply. So I have a lot of money saved up. I have quite a bit of money saved up that, and I don't go through it very fast at all. So you don't have to make a lot of money. I mean, I'm not making a lot of cash from doing all this stuff. I mean, you know how much the YouTube channel pays. I mean, it's not that much. No. But man, I can live off you'd be surprised, man. I can live real simply. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't, people laugh at, you know, I only drink water. I'm a health nut, man. I'm a total health nut. I never eat out.
These are all the reasons, by the way, I respect and admire you as a person, man. Like, when I started watching your channel, the Bitcoin stuff is why I got there. But when you started talking about being frugal and, you know, saving more than spending, and, you know, it made me come up with like a little thing like live beneath your means to achieve your dreams. Like, you know, if you can only afford this, well, live under that and you'll have so much more to save. For me personally, I talk about this a lot. I actually just got my first phone bill, but I never paid a phone bill my whole adult life. I've only used my phone on Wi-Fi, and if I didn't have Wi-Fi, I didn't have a phone, so I could save that money every month.
Dude, that's awesome. And that's what I do. I don't pay a phone bill. My phone is just connected to Google or whatever. And I mean, I can use it outside of the country too. You know, I do Skype. There's so many free things. You know, we got to take advantage of technology here.
Yes.
And I want to actually address that. And was so my whole life, I mean, has become a very disciplined life as I've gotten older. It's harder to do in your 20s. I mean, it's definitely harder to do when you're real young and you're teen. Like some of these guys are 19 years old out there, and they have no self-discipline at all. So they don't even understand what I'm talking about here. But I mean, it's like, so this discipline, it goes through all these aspects of my life: being healthy, being able to fast for long periods of time, being able to resist the temptation of buying some ludicrous thing in reality and in investment strategy too. Just sticking with a path. And people have a hard time with that today. Again, it's a very impulsive world, and I find it's become more and more impulsive. You know, and at the end, I wanted to bring up technology because I believe technology is something that is going to prevent so many doom and gloom scenarios from happening. A lot of people ask, like, how can the United States keep up this being in such debt and having so many people on welfare? And eventually, it's technology. It's technology allows this to keep going. We have the best technology in the world. We allow people to live at the highest standard of living. So they're quite content being wards of the state, living off of having the government pay for all their food. So this sickening form of socialism that dominates the United States, that everyone says is going to fail, it's not going to fail. People are content. People are content with their free cell phones, with their free food, and it's all because of our advanced technology. I have been around this world. I have been to Mozambique and Zimbabwe, which are basically in horrible shape in many ways. Mozambique worse than Zimbabwe, I guess. And they don't take advantage of technology the way we do. They don't have the same innovations that we do in this country. So we've got it going on here. People don't realize that we can keep this up for quite some time. And this is something that Andy Hoffman was a guest on my show today, that he and I totally disagree with. He says that, everything's falling, we're in such a bad economic state. Really? Are we in such a bad, I mean, look how fat the poorest people are in America. Look how much food they get.
Look at all the homeless people. They all have iPhones.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things. And the reason many people are homeless is because they're mentally ill. That's why they're out there, and that's unfortunate. That's a completely different issue. But I mean, the poor now, it's just quite a comfortable lifestyle. The housing is quite nice. The public housing is quite nice. I've traveled around the United States. I've seen a lot of public housing. Baltimore, they live nice. They got nice cars. I've been up to Maine. The Somali immigrants that live up in Maine have great public housing. I mean, it's so much. What the United States government provides its people is so much better than what people live in with their own money in most countries all over the world, where people are struggling. And we live in a very entrepreneurial country still, whether people want to admit it or not. The system isn't falling apart. And I want to write more about this. I want to do more videos about this. Because this country has become, on a certain level, socialist, and the reason we can keep it going is because the middle class are basically cucks. They willingly will pay for this. They willingly will pay for this because this is just their lifestyle. They're like, yeah, of course, I'll take the taxes. I'll pay the taxes. That's the way it is. That's being a patriotic American. I got to pay for my kids to go to good public school. I got to move away from the encroaching city and run away from the problems. And the white flight, or whatever you want to call it, and black people leave cities too. Middle class flight is part of the reason that all of this sickening socialism can be funded. The middle class in America will never put their foot down. They will never put their foot down. They love it too. They're having fun. They're having fun too, because they want their kids to go to good public schools. They think it's cool to send their kids to, even though public schools are horrible. I mean, they get worse and worse and worse. I'm rambling on a little bit now, but the system, and by the way, the system isn't set. There isn't some mastermind who's developed this plan. It's just the way people are. People are quite content to be fat and poor and sit in front of the TV, watch the NFL, send their kids to public school and become unhealthy. And then they become desperate and they have to rely on the government. So basically, if you could think outside of this entire realm, if you can live outside of this entire realm of not having to worry about, moving to send your, buy a $500,000 house because your school system has become horrible, and not having to worry about having to rely on Obamacare because you've drinking so much Coca-Cola that you have diabetes now. You could just simple things. You could just live totally outside of this, like I do, and just watch it. And it's just fun to watch. And you can do so many things with your life. Just travel around and just get into Bitcoin. And so if people ever wonder how I do this, you just got a glimpse. You just got to have the right mentality and understand that life is not some big conspiracy that you have to worry about, that you're not set to follow a certain path in life. You can develop your own path and just watch everybody else go down this crazy path to United States socialism that everybody just blindly accepts and blindly is happy about. The system isn't falling apart. 20 years it'll be just the same people following it blindly and stuff. And those who want to be outside of it will be have free time and be wealthy and just enjoy freedom.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I like to tell people, don't ever get comfortable, because the moment you're content with the way your life is, it never gets any better. So the moment you're comfortable, that's about as great as your life will ever get. I mean, life can be great, but that doesn't mean you have to be content with it. You can always strive to get better and get more out of life. So don't ever get comfortable. Always stay uncomfortable, because you strive to do more.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I'm with you on the whole, I feel like I just woke up one day, because I got that whole 9-to-5 thing, and I feel like I'm looking at it now from outside, from being in it for my whole life, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing that much longer. My goal is to get out of the 9-to-5, become self-employed, become an entrepreneur, and all this just recently came into my whole mentality. I used to live paycheck to paycheck. I used to just find reasons to spend money. I'd be like, yo, I got an extra $50. Let's go out and get something to drink. And it was really just a bad mentality, and nothing changed. It isn't like I make more money now. It's just I spend less. Now I have a savings, and I invested it, and now my savings has more value. So I do agree with a lot of what you're saying, pretty much all of it. Like, people got to stop getting comfortable. They got to strive. And you got to stop being so I hate people that don't have $1,000 in their savings account, but they have an iPhone 7 Plus in their hand. I'm like, bro, how do you have $1,000 phone, but you don't have $1,000 in any investment, in any savings, in anything ever? It really hurts my soul to know close friends of mine are in that position where they find things to spend more money than they even have to back it. It's really just the mindset they have. And it's the mindset that are, it's people. It's weird. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but people are programmed to want to go out and spend more money than they have. That's why we have financing and leasing and all these other great credit things that help people spend money they don't have yet.
Well, this is the 2 points you bring up there. The art of savings has totally been lost. I mean, people laugh at it.
Especially yes, they do. You get mocked for it. You get mocked.
Yeah. People in our cryptocurrency space is amazing. They think savings is nothing. I mean, savings is so important. It's so easy. It's such an easy thing to do, and you don't have to worry. I mean, it just gets rid of worry. Why worry? Another thing is, what was I going to say about the? Oh God, one second. It had to do with the. People out there, Americans in general, Westerners, they're not going to stop the mentality I'm about to describe to you. They get $10, they spend $11. That's not ending. And that just fuels the system that everyone says is going to fall apart. It's not falling apart, because I don't know what's wrong. I don't know that is just the general mentality of the Western population today. I don't know how that happened. That's not my mentality. But people earn $10. they go out and spend 11. And as long as that aspect is in play, oh yeah, this system is going to work, because in the end of the day, they're going to have to go run to the government to bail them out and everything. And just the system will stay in place, this system that we're under. And again, if you're earning $10 and you're not spending 11, if you're earning $10 and you're spending 5, or you're spending, how about this, you're earning $6 and you're spending 3, you're in a lot better shape than that dude that's earning 10 and spending 11, who's got, you know, the nice car and everything. And you can just look at it from the outside, sit back and relax, and you constantly challenge yourself, obviously. Keep trying to be a better person, and, you know, never fall asleep. That's why I encourage people not to do drugs, because I feel like drugs kind of make a person content and, you know, a little lazy. And then people can argue, you know, whatever they want there.
Oh, no, I'm with you. I'm living proof. I smoke marijuana, and it definitely does enable my ambitions. You know, I'll procrastinate, and then I sober up, and I'm like, shit, I was supposed to get that done. So I'm actually dialing back on that for multiple reasons. Saving, 1, 2, I have to dedicate a lot more time to crypto and becoming a more level-headed, straight-minded personality in the space. I wanted to backtrack a little bit and touch on, like, Adam Meister. What is the hardest part about being a cryptocurrency personality in the space? Or just what's the hardest part about being Adam Meister in the Bitcoin space?
Oh, the hardest part is just, I think what's frustrated me, where I haven't lived up to my standards, is that there's so many new people coming into the space, and I do so many videos that I get asked some of the same questions over and over and over again. And a few times I've lost it. I've been like, dude, stop asking me these questions. I've answered this 5 times already. And just check my archives out. Check my archives out. And, you know, that's not, I wouldn't say that's the best approach. And so it can be, you can't take it for granted that people have watched all of your videos. I mean, it's just because you have 500 videos out there doesn't mean anyone's watched all of them, or even a fraction of them. And so you're going to get asked the same questions. New people are very prone to asking questions about cloud mining, which I have been passionately against, but again, it's not their fault they haven't heard me. And then a lot of people, like, they kind of overestimate their pool. And so they love to leave comments or ask you about a certain altcoin in hopes that them mentioning it is going to help pump the price, or in hopes that I will mention it and that will help pump the price. But both things aren't really happening. It's not that simple. And again, I'm not here to, I hardly like any altcoins. I mean, the ones that intrigue me are the ones that I'm familiar with, like the management teams, and I know came from legitimate sources and are somewhat original and are already somewhat popular and universally considered first tier. I mean, you know, for example, Litecoin. I mean, I know Charlie Lee. He's totally awesome. He created it for legit reasons. It's a legitimate altcoin, and I only respect the ones that are going to be around still in 2020 in a legitimate way. Not like, I mean, they'll probably all be around still, like, but not in a like.
They'll be around in the sense of Doge will always be around.
Yeah, exactly. But the good ones, there'll be a few survivors that'll be like.
Well, there's still some we don't even know yet. We got time for new crypto to come out and be better than something. I don't know how. I mean, like you said, the what really adds value to a cryptocurrency is its pre-existing track record. So in order to be better than Litecoin, you'd have to have a longer impervious blockchain than Litecoin, which is hard to do, or to be a better, you know, anything. So I don't know. But to touch on a different side of the same question, or different side of the coin, what is some of the most enjoyable parts about being a Bitcoin personality?
Oh my God! Well, there is new news every day. Every day I can come up with an original video, and I think that's awesome. meeting people from around the world. It's awesome networking with people around the world. People have been so nice to me, offer me free places to stay. I mean, it is just a generosity. It's amazing. It's just amazing. And just, there's such excitement in this space. It's like being around when the internet was just coming out, I assume. And it's like, this is what I've dreamt of my whole life, to be in an industry that is just at the beginning of a revolution. So that is just super exciting, and to be on the tip of the spear, or whatever, and to be known. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or something, but people know who I am, and it's like, to be a personality, to be a player in all this is cool, and anyone can be a player in this. Anyone can start a chat. That's we're so early in this that anyone can get to a point where I am in a matter of months. I mean, you just got to persevere, and you got to think outside the box, and kind of be willing to drop some of your traditional definitions of what's normal. Like, I don't need a normal job anymore. I should just save and start really getting into this cryptocurrency thing now. You got to get rid of some fear of being ridiculed for being different. I think that's why a lot of people stay in their traditional boring jobs, because they don't want to be ridiculed by the masses and by their cohorts. They're peer pressure. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you say.
They're the haters. Your friends are going to see you quit your 9-to-5 while they're still going to the 9-to-5, and most of the time, those people unfortunately aren't very supportive. They're the haters. They're jealous and envious that you found your way out of the rat race, and they're still stuck in that mentality. So, I mean, I wouldn't look for any admiration from close friends or family if you do find your way out of that race and into something like this, because it's probably not going to be there.
Yeah, well, so many people succumb to peer pressure. So you have to get yourself out of that mentality. That's the first step, I guess. Like, don't care what other people think. Don't just, go for it. We're at such an exciting time. You don't want to be like 57 years old and like be like, oh, I should have done that. That was I missed out on such excitement. And so think long-term, think of like, could be in the future, and that you're in the present now, so you can make sure that things aren't going to end up that way.
Right. It's almost like you could go back in time and do something differently. You can do that today, right now, and in the future you could be like, oh shit, I time traveled because I used foresight.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Man,
that's a great
awesome
way of putting it.
Yeah, this has been a great interview, man. I'm loving it so far. I got a couple things I wanted to touch on. I know we're running long and it's late. I don't want to keep you up. I know you're hella busy.
This is fun. This is fun. I like it. I'm having a great time. Keep them coming.
All right. Here's the next one I'm interested. Out of all the people you have interviewed, who was your favorite person to interview and why?
Oh my God. Let's think about this one. Well, Charlie Lee, that was pretty awesome, because he was just so honest, and I was surprised. He was revealing like his percentages of his portfolio and stuff, and people were getting pretty excited. One of my favorite show I did, which wasn't the question, but this kind of lends in. I had a This Week in Bitcoin when I was in Lisbon, Portugal. And it was actually Ben of BTC Sessions was one of the scheduled guests. Ansel Lindner was also on the show that night. And I forgot who the third guy was. And there was some crazy FUD with Bitcoin going on at the time. And we were about to conclude the show. And I see Vinny Lingham's in the chat. And I invite him in to the show. And he suddenly comes on the show. And it was awesome. And then I see Tone Bays in the chat, and I get Tone to come on the show. And then who else came on the show? That there was someone, God, what's his face from Minnesota came on the show. That why can't I think of his name? I am a little tired. But all of a sudden we got 6 guys on the This Week in Bitcoin show. It was only supposed to be 3 of us. It had already been an hour. It lasts an hour more. Everyone's asking Vinny all these questions because he doesn't get interviewed that often, especially back then.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, especially back then. And I already had like an all-star caliber cast. I mean, it was fun. So that was one of the most popular This Week in Bitcoin I've ever done, actually. It's still out there. So go to, if people want to watch it, obviously it's in March, I guess.
I have a link in the description box to your channel, so they could click the link in the description box and go hunt for it.
Yeah,
dude, that is awesome, man.
Blake Anderson. Blake Anderson's from Minnesota. I forgot his name.
That's exactly when you'd remember it too, like when there's some random moment.
Yeah, well, and it was cool. And then, afterwards, we're all chilling out afterwards. People are drinking. Ben, since he's in Canada, he pulls out a beer, starts drinking, talking to Blake. It was a cool time. But Vinny kind of freaked everybody out on that one too. It's an interesting episode, to say the least. So that was my best show. But again, the Charlie Lee interview was really cool. I always enjoy the Andy Hoffman interviews. They go by real fast, and he's from outside the space. And I had Doug Casey on the show. That one I was proud to get him because he's so famous in the alternative finance world. That was an interesting one. Definitely, that was one that I'm very just proud of getting that guest. I mean, my most hated. The one who causes the most controversy, and it's just so funny. She's so polar, and the only woman ever to be on my show.
I already know where you're going. Yeah,
Amanda Johnson. She's the only woman. The only woman to ever be on my show. And so when she comes on too, it's funny because both sides of the coin. Everyone's hating on me on that. That they're like, "You're such a Dash sellout," and then some Dash people are like, "You're only like Bitcoin." I mean, it's cool to have gotten so big where the trolls, no matter what video I do, they'll attack me for being, too pro Bitcoin, and other ones will attack me for being too pro something else. So it's good. I guess it kind of shows that I'm not, if I'm getting attacked from both sides, I can't be that biased, I guess.
No, and that was actually a really good, the most recent one with Amanda that you did was really good. I enjoyed it. And I think that brings for some really unique conversations. Somebody who's like, I wouldn't want to say you're a Bitcoin maximalist, but I mean, you could be, you could be considered one. And then you have Amanda B. Johnson on the show. Like, how did you even schedule that? Like, you're very outspoken, just buy Bitcoin, nothing else. And then you're like, hey, Amanda, you want to come on and talk about Dash? Like, how did that even come into life?
It was her third time on my show. You got to remember, the first time she was on my show was Dash was like, it had been below $10. And so, I got her at a good time the first time. And what she liked about the entire situation is that I was very polite. And around that time, some people were having her on their shows and they would try to ambush her and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not about ambushing people. And there are a lot of people out there who love that kind of thing. And to each their own, but I just think that's not necessary. I know Andreas Antonopoulos is a person who looks down upon the people who like to ambush people and make people look silly. I'm not here to make people look silly. So she really appreciated that the first time, and so she was happy to come back the second time when Dash was like going wild, and she was happy to come back the third time. And I've been talking about Amanda Johnson ever since Dash hired her a year ago. I thought it was a great marketing move, and that is my background, is marketing. So I do bring a marketing perspective to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency that is sorely lacking. There are a lot of people who look down upon marketing in the cryptocurrency world, and that is a mistake. And I stress to people who are watching this, who are into marketing and maybe not into cryptocurrency, to get into this space, that more and more marketing, you're going to do very well in cryptocurrency if you have a marketing background.
That's the one thing cryptocurrency industry's lacking horribly is marketing. I mean, it's just, there's none. There is no marketing. I mean, so in some cases that's awesome because we don't have all these ICOs with like, banner ads on like Amazon, but it's like some people could do better with their marketing. I think Coinbase could probably do better with their marketing and with their service they provide. Certain other aspects of other things in the industry, like hardware wallets, I feel like if they did more marketing of their product, the product itself would trigger questions like, oh, cryptocurrency wallet, what's the cryptocurrency? So I feel like if those things use some of the money they made into marketing. But I feel like what all these things are depending on right now is this marketing between you, me, and other enthusiasts that say, hey, grab a friend by the arm and we have to hold hands and show people how to on-ramp them into this because of our passion for it.
In terms of Bitcoin itself, obviously there's no central authority to hire marketing people. But if more marketing people came into Bitcoin and collaborated and like formed their own marketing entity, like saying, hey, we're going to market Bitcoin. We are the marketers of Bitcoin. Sponsor us. People would pay them. I mean, there's an idea right there. And there have been different Bitcoin, I guess, support groups and Bitcoin congresses or whatever you want to say. But some of them haven't ended very well. But people should be creative with this thing. I mean, this is open source. This is no central authority. So you could just make your own claims. Say, I'm the Bitcoin marketing agency, and I'm going to do it. And some wealthy Bitcoin people sponsor me. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities to do something. So yeah, there's a lot of, and even like Litecoin needs marketing. And that's another thing I liked about that Charlie Lee interview is that we were talking about that. And afterwards, it seemed like he became more proactive with marketing and with a lot of things, with his messaging changed after our interview. I do remember that. And I felt like we almost made progress. I don't know. Who knows? But you never know. There's the bottom line is there's room for marketing people, and they're in this realm. And if you're a creative marketing person, all the better. You can come up with. There's nothing holding you back. There's no rules really. I mean, it's anarchy, but it's a good way, the good anarchy, not chaos.
To touch on chaos, and I'm not sure if you even have to worry about this because you don't sell, but what are your thoughts on Bitcoin and taxes? You're a consultant who gets paid in cryptocurrencies. When it does come time to sell, even whether it be 2020 or years after, how do you plan on paying taxes? Or what are your thoughts on how taxes may be in the future when cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is mainstream and fully adopted?
Well, you bring up an excellent point. Taxes are something that I constantly talk about because the people who are just flipping it back and forth are legally obligated to pay taxes on the profits they have made on Bitcoin. And if they're doing it through Coinbase, which many of them are, it's being totally recorded. And Coinbase, the IRS has already contacted Coinbase. So if you have bought and sold through Coinbase, you better be paying your taxes. They're going to tell on you. That's the IRS has a huge target there, a huge target already out there of all these people who didn't buy and hold, who just bought and sold. So those people are first on the list right there. Now the buy and hold people, you're not obligated to report an income until you've actually sold your Bitcoin. So, hey man, I simplified. That's another reason to buy and hold. You're not selling anything. Now, if I sell a bunch in 2020, and I'm not saying I'm going to do that, again, I just set that date because people have a hard time thinking long term. They need a date. That's another thing. People ask me, why are you going to sell all your Bitcoin? I never said I was going to sell any of my Bitcoin in 2020. That's the earliest possible time that I'd sell any of it. But yeah, I would assume that the rules would be similar to that they are right now, to what they are right now. That when you sell, you say how much you paid for them, and then you say how much you sold them for. There is your profit, and that's what you pay the taxes on that profit, right there.
Gotcha. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Genesis mining or cloud mining referral schemes and how you don't promote any of that. So you have a great audience, a big audience. The only things I ever seen referral wise are like you said for their wallets or something, stuff like that, very earnest referrals. What do you think about things like cloud mining or these lending sites like BitConnect? What are your opinion on those?
They take advantage of a bunch of short-term thinkers. There's people who are impulsive. People don't understand that it's more profitable and easier and safer just to, if you get one Bitcoin, that's it. Hold on to the one Bitcoin. Don't try to have something magical happen to it where it becomes more than one Bitcoin, or where you totally lose track. You just remember, oh, I paid $600 for that Bitcoin, and now I have earned $900. But yet the other Bitcoin's worth $3,000. So you've totally lost track. You've gotten back into the dollar paradigm again. But you've just totally lost, value your wealth in Bitcoin if you're playing in the Bitcoin space. The same goes for when you're flipping into altcoins and all this stuff. You got to think long term. There's no, again, these cloud mine, Genesis even admitted that they're around to make it easier for people to mine. That if someone wanted to be a miner on their own, it would be more expensive than doing it through cloud mining. But at the same time, there's no guarantee you're going to profit through cloud mining. I mean, you have to do all this weird referral, multi-level marketing stuff. And most of the time, you should run away from multi-level marketing. I mean, that's what I've learned in life. That most of it is a scam. Not everyone's a salesperson anyway. I mean, you have to be a salesman to be a good multi-level marketer. It's a pyramid scheme half the time. And I'm just talking beyond cryptocurrency too. In cryptocurrency, it's so easy for people to steal from you, though. Send me one Bitcoin, I'll double it. You send them one Bitcoin, that's it. They just run away. There's no way of getting that one big. There's no way, because that's the thing about, it's about individual responsibility in cryptocurrency. Once you send it, PayPal can't reverse it. There is no third party to reverse it. So why get involved with third parties here? If you start to get involved with third parties in any aspect of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, you have to question what's going on. You just have to boil it down to individual responsibility, controlling your own private key. If you don't control your own private key, you don't own your Bitcoin. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's crazy that people have like a totally different mentality of money when, as soon as they get their hands on crypto, how they would treat money like fiat and how they treat money like crypto are two totally different mindsets. As soon as they get their hands on crypto, they can't wait to give it away to somebody. I've never seen anybody take a $100 bill and be like, can somebody make this $200, please? Somebody just take my $100 bill and give me back $200 whenever, because I know you'll do it. No, nobody does that with paper money. But the moment they get digital money, they can't, you can't hold friends back hard enough to stop them from throwing money at certain things.
Dude, that is an excellent observation on your part. And I don't know why that is. Because maybe they're bored because they can't see it physically. They can't hold it physically. Maybe that's the aspect that's lacking, and it's not real to them. So they're willing to do things that are more dangerous with it. I don't know. It's a great observation on your.
Yeah. Not tangible, not real. As soon as they buy it, they're like, yeah, this isn't money anymore. It's, gummy bears or something. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's true.
That's the wrong way of looking at it. That's definitely, they should, it's so much more valuable than a $100 bill. A $100 bill is going to be worth $100. A Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more dollars. It's going to be worth a Bitcoin, but a lot more in terms of dollars in 2020. So
yeah, people have to have the mentality of the quantity of coin, not the dollar value you're going to get. Like, you could give up a Bitcoin, like you said, pay 600, you give up that Bitcoin and somebody gives you 900 in 6 months. But what if it goes to 1200? You could have made a lot more just holding. And with the time that you spend, like, audience, hear me, the time that you spend trading, the time that you spend mining, the time that you spend on all these schemes could be time that you invested into something else, honestly earning to reinvest that into Bitcoin. So you're wasting time. Time is money. You're wasting money while trying to make money. It's a double negative.
Yeah.
Totally. Adam, I wanted to ask you another question, kind of backtracking here a little bit, but if there was one person you could get on your show to interview, who would it be and why?
Well, the one person I want to get Andreas Antonopoulos on. That would be awesome. But he's just such a smart guy, and a lot of people have requested him. And I think we'd have an interesting conversation. I'd have some interesting questions for him. Someone that I've been trying to get on. It's really hard to contact. He gets on a lot of other people's show. I'd like to have Fluffy Pony from Monero on.
Yeah,
because
that'd be great.
I've had Amanda Johnson on 3 different times, and it's just hard to get him. It's hard to get in touch with him, but he's been on other shows, so that's just someone I'd like to get on.
Have you reached out to Andreas?
No, I've never reached out to Andreas.
Dude, I feel like if you did, he would do it. I've actually interviewed Andreas, not on my own personal channel, on the Bitcoin podcast, the actual show on the network. I got him I reached out to him on Twitter, and I got him to come on the show. He's a really social person. I don't think anybody would expect how social he can be. So I feel like, you being you should reach out, because I really want to hear that conversation. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I should aim. I gotta say, I've never asked him to be on the show.
Well, now I'm gonna tweet you. I'm gonna tag you both and be like, make this happen. Make universe, make this happen, because I know I'm not alone in wanting to hear that conversation.
That would be fun. I guess I've been like, I don't know, the dude is traveling so much, I don't want to waste his time. But I guess
no, you ain't wasting nobody's time, man.
I know, and it's true. You gotta put yourself in the right mindset there, Meister.
Yeah, dude, you're too humble. Stand up, stand up. You're too humble.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I should reach out to him soon. So yeah, he's a guy I'd like to have on, but I have reached out to Fluffy Pony. It just hasn't come together yet. And he's definitely a character, and I'm sure we'd have a very interesting time talking. And again, yeah, and just it's some of the Monero and Dash, they don't battle as much as they used to, those two communities. But they I want to make the Monero people happy too. They got their share of Amanda Johnson, so the Dash people should get their share of Fluffy Pony. I mean, equal. Try to give some equal love to both communities there.
True that. All right, this has been awesome. I'm gonna wrap things up with a question here for you. I at the Bitcoin podcast, we like to ask a pretty difficult question, so take your time. And I tweak this a little bit per guest. So could you describe altcoins in 10 words or less?
Yes. A way to acquire more Bitcoin.
Perfect. That's exactly what I tell people. Altcoins are a means to more Bitcoin. That's all I've ever got an altcoin for, is for it to go up in value, cash out, get my more Bitcoin. That's it.
Yes.
Perfect. Dude, thank you so much for being on the show, man. It was a pleasure, honor. I can't believe you made time to come on my show. I know you're a busy guy. Hopefully one day I can get on your show and you could flip the script and ask me some questions. Is there anything that I should have asked, or anything you wanted to talk about while we had the audience? We have about 60 viewers. I didn't know, you want to tell them where they can find you, what's coming up next, stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I want to thank you. This has been an awesome conversation, and you will be on my show very soon. We got to set that up, man. I like what you're doing out there, and I noticed you a while ago, and you definitely seem like more straight edge now. I mean, that's kind of interesting. Maybe that's just my.
No, I matured. I definitely matured. Crypto somehow matured me. I don't like it.
Did you have more facial hair before too, or something like that?
This is the first time I've ever shaved ever on my show. This is the my face's first presentation.
You're looking good, man. You're looking good. I just want to say, people can find me at you can go disruptmeister.com. Just Google Bitcoin Meister on YouTube. Obviously, you'll link to my show below. I post a new show every day. What's coming up next? I'll be in Hong Kong. I'll be at the Hong Kong Bitcoin meetup on 4th of July. And then I'll be in Australia, and I'll be in Perth from 10th of July to the 17th. And then from the 17th to the 31st, I'll be in Brisbane. And I'll definitely meet some people out in both those cities. I'm working on some different things out there. So it'll be fun to be back in Australia for a third time. I love it down there. It's really nice.
So much for not traveling as much.
Yeah, that's the goal for 2018. Maybe it'll be less travel, hopefully. We'll see.
All right, man. Thank you again. And thanks, everybody, for listening. Have a day.
Pound that like button.
Pound that like button. Hell yeah.